Okay, let's solve Leetcode number 80, which is removing. This is the second variant of the remove duplicates from a sorted array. So you'll be given a sorted array in a non-decreasing fashion, and what you're supposed to do is return this same array, but rather than these values duplicating more than 2 times, you will reduce them to one or two, like basically at most two times they can repeat. So one or two occurrences of each are allowed. Okay, so how do we go about this? What we do is we use our typical left and right pointers. We first use a while loop to calculate how many of each of these occurrences of each element exist, right? And while we do that, we also increment our right pointer, correct, and to the end of this the occurrences. And once we do that, what we do is we change or update the value of the left pointer's array location based off of the output of minimum of 2 comma c and t. We will see how this works in a bit. Basically it helps a lot with the occurrences where there's just like one occurrence like this, or when there is like 3 occurrences. So it basically reduces it's what helps with the logic. I don't know how to explain this better, and I will work on that in the future. Okay, back to it. Where were we? Yeah, so we had moved our left right pointer to over here. Next, what we do is we replace this value twice, or based off of whatever the function was, correct? And then what we do is, so now for instance our left pointer moved over here, we now move to the next value. Now what we do, we repeat the same thing. We have 3 occurrences of 2, so we're gonna loop. Okay, you know what, let me write the algorithm as I go on. So the function, let's call it remove duplicates, and it takes the nums array as the input, right? So firstly you run a while loop until your so you run it first saying while your right pointer is less than your nums dot size. So this is the terminating condition, correct? What you do next is you run a while loop again, and this is for calculating how many occurrences of each given element are there in the array. So while again a terminating condition to check that this value stays inside the bounds is less than nums dot size, and this is the actual main logic now, and the nums of r is equal to nums of r plus 1, basically checking if these two values are the same, or if these two values are the same. If r is here, then these two values, correct? And so that is what it checks, and if these hold true, then what are we going to do? We are going to increment count, and we're going to increment the right pointer, correct? Now once that is done, we are going to run a loop. So let's run a for loop for int k equals 0, k is less than the minimum between 2 and the count value, and then you have a k plus plus, correct? What do you do over here? You replace the value at the left pointer. So you say nums of left, and you replace it with the right pointer, so nums of right, and then you go ahead and increment the left pointer. Alright, that's all you do over here, and then you increment the right pointer in order to go to the next number. So if you were here, you go to here, if you were here, you go to here, something like that, or something like that, exactly that. And once all of this is done, you exit from that while loop, correct? Now once you have exited, you will notice that if we do a dry run over here, right, if we did a dry run over here, the point where we would end up is let's write will be over here, correct? And okay, let's see, when your right was over here, your left ultimately caught up, then your right moved here, then your right moved here, and then your left moved here, and then here. Correct? So it moved twice, and then your right moved over here, and your left moved over here. Correct? And then your right moved off out of bounds, and this was the final value. So what was the index over here? It was 1 2 3 4 5. Correct? So this was the final index to which we had to check. And so all you do is return the left pointer. This is your function ending now. That's it. Let's go ahead and execute it now. Thank you for watching.